What's up, everybody? My name is Cole. Today I want to talk about my experience of getting diagnosed with Meniere's disease, the symptoms, what it was like, as well as a doctor that I met who put my Meniere's disease into total remission. He has also done this for a lot of other people, and I want to share a little bit about my story in hopes of helping other people who have been diagnosed with Meniere's. I'm not affiliated with this doctor in any way. I make no money from these videos. Not an influencer, as you can see by the quality of this video. I've been telling myself I need to make this video. This guy helped me so much, and I'd like to be able to share that along. I'm on a surf trip right now, and the waves are flat. So I said, you know what, I'm going to dedicate today to finally making this and posting it. So with that, let's get into it. Okay, so what happened? I remember I was working on my 4Runner at the time. I was replacing the suspension. Out of the blue, I lost hearing in my left ear, and it felt like half of my hearing was just gone, along with tinnitus. The tinnitus immediately starts ringing. And you have that sometimes, and it feels like part of your hearing goes away, but little bits throughout your life. This was like a big shift. I'm super confused, so I start going like this, and sure enough, yeah, nearly half is gone my left ear. My right ear is totally fine. The day after, it does not get better. And not only does it not get better, but I start having ear fullness, and and then I start having vertigo. And all of this came on relatively close. I want to say the vertigo happened a little bit later, but not super far off. Anyways, so half my hearing is gone. I gotta go see a doctor. I'm big into Google reviews and Yelp and all that. So I'm looking for the best ear, nose, and throat I can find. I find this UC San Diego. It seems like he's within the teaching community. So he's mentoring other doctors. I'm like, this is the guy. Great, let's go. Do that with all my medical stuff. So I get in. I have to do all these hearing tests first, and then they look my ear, and doctor comes in. He's like, yeah, you probably have Meniere's disease. You're probably going to go deaf in that ear, and you may go deaf in both. Stop eating salt, and that'll slow it down. Have a nice day. He was super flippant about the whole thing, and I wasn't fully crying, but my eyes welled up, and I was like, what are you talking about? I'm 23 years old. I'm totally healthy. I'm not losing my hearing. You got this wrong. No way. I've never heard Meniere. What is that? I'm getting a second opinion, and I find another doctor. Same idea. Very well reviewed. I have to go through all the hearing tests. He more confidently is like, oh yeah, this is Meniere's. You have Meniere's. Not much we can do. Stop eating salt. I panic, as I imagine many of you are, if you were recently diagnosed or you have a loved one, because this is not at least from what you read online, it is not easily managed. It is not pleasant by any stretch of the imagination. It's deeply debilitating, uncomfortable, and in many cases leads to deafness, right? So I'm stubborn, so I say I'm not taking this as an answer. I find a third doctor, and this doctor made all of the difference. Actually, my mom says she found the doctor. If that's true, Mom, thank you, love you. I show up, again, total expert, ear, nose, and throat, teaches it at UC Irvine, mentors other doctors, very well reviewed. I'm on the verge of tears. I have to go through the hearing tests again. This is my third time doing all this. Not a nurse practitioner, but a doctor in training, I guess we could say an intern, comes in and starts talking to me about migraines. And I'm confused. I'm like, I don't have migraines. That's not one of my symptoms. And he says, oh, okay, backs off. He's like, let me have the doctor explain this. And so I wait a while. Dr. Jajilian comes in. I've never known if I'm saying his name right. I think it's Hamid Jajilian. I'll put some links to his websites below. I'm like, I don't want to lose my hearing, man. Please help. And he kind of giggles. Of course, I'm a little bit offended. I'm like, what is he laughing about? And but I'm also hanging on bated breath. You're not going to go deaf. Nobody really understands what Meniere's disease is. We think we figured it out. And you need to take this medication, and you need to go on this particular diet, and your symptoms should mostly or entirely resolve. We see consistent and repeatable success. And I'm over the moon. I'm slightly hesitant, but of course, I am dying for some good news. I'll take some good news, and I finally got some good news. And his description, his explanation is that all of the symptoms of Meniere's, the ear fullness, the losing the hearing, the tinnitus, the vertigo, those are all downstream effects of migraines. This is my best explanation, attacking the hearing system or the ear nerves, right? Whether or not you can feel those migraines, it's happening and it is causing the downstream effects, the symptoms of Meniere's disease. And for me, again, I was skeptical of the migraine thing because I had not felt or noticed any migraines. As I got on the protocol, my issues, in my case, entirely resolved. Now I want to talk about a study that I linked below. There's another study that he's working on apparently that's going to come out in 2027, but the study that I'm going to link showed 23 out of 25 patients, 92% improved. Vertigo went from an average of 8.3 attacks per month to just 0.8 per month, so that's less than 1 attack per month, roughly a 90% reduction. Day-to-day function, there were 88% went into it meaningfully symptomatic. 96% at the end were rated normal or near normal. This is significant. This is huge. Reading this study, it tracks. This is what happened to me and for me. I went in meaningfully impacted. 2, coming out, it took, I want to say 6 to 8 weeks. Total elimination of symptoms. Twice, I don't want to forget this, twice I have attempted to come off. And by the way, I eventually switched from nortriptyline to another medication. Twice I've tried to come off thinking, oh, maybe, it has been long enough. Both instances, one I want to say at 2 weeks, one I want to say at 3 to 4 weeks after having come off the medication, it came back. And it started with ear fullness or hearing loss that I then treated quickly with prednisone, and then I just got back. And, if this is my lot in life, I have to be on this one anti-migraine medication for the rest of my life, I don't care. I'll happily do it. Okay, the protocol. For me, it was just 2 medications and a recommendation to go on a migraine diet. I did not. The medications for me were enough. Medication number 1 was nortriptyline. This is an antidepressant. It also works as an anti-migraine. This is preventative to stop future attacks and Meniere's symptoms from happening. Number 2, prednisone, the steroid, not to be taken long-term, only to be taken immediately following or during a hearing attack. So if I had a hearing loss event, he would have me take the prednisone, and follow a short 7-day cycle. In 90% of cases, my hearing came back from that. I want to stress, I don't want to give false hope. He really said, you can't lose your hearing and a year later take the steroid and hope that it comes back. It really has to be immediately following an attack. And again, the nortriptyline anti-migraine medication is what completely knocked out my symptoms. If you look at his protocol online, and I'll link something down below, there's also talk of riboflavin, vitamin B2, magnesium as anti-migraine medications. I didn't have to go on any of that. It was just the nortriptyline and then prednisone when I had a hearing attack. I want to say after 6 to 8 weeks, I was totally symptom-free. And I also just want to say, again, as a reminder, if you don't have migraine symptoms, neither did I. Okay, now I want to briefly touch on, some brainstorming. What can you do? I posted my experience, this same story, on Reddit, and I heard a wide variety of voices, a number of them desperate in saying, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing your story. What do you think I should do? Like, can I go see him? I've even been DMing with some folks who have been trying to get in to see him. He still practices. He's at UC Irvine in Southern California in Orange County. Last I heard, he only took private insurance, so he doesn't take private pay. That might close the window for some people. He is not like in network at Kaiser, for example, so that might close the window for some people. And some people may just not live near Southern California and don't have the means to get there. And so I linked the protocol down below. I'm not a medical professional, I'm assuming you're not, but if you look at it, you will see it is very simple and straightforward. So you might have some luck seeing your own ear, nose, and throat. Hopefully they're open-minded and saying, hey, you know, I've been hearing a lot about this doctor. I've heard about this protocol. I've heard about a lot of success with this. You know, maybe it's even a primary. I have a primary doctor who's fantastic, who worked with me on stuff that seems kind of specialisty. And he's just open-minded and game, you know, wants to help. So anyways, if you don't have the means to go see him, share it with the doctor, you know, see if they will work with you on this. Okay, that is my story. That's my experience with Meniere's. Thank you for watching. If I helped one person take a step towards becoming symptom-free or just dealing with some of the hopelessness that comes along with this disease, I feel like I succeeded. So thanks for watching, take good care, and I'll keep an eye on the comments if you got questions. I'm not a YouTuber, but I will try and keep an eye for questions and help where I can. Take good care.